What metric do you use in measuring how PPC impacts the overall performance of ACE? And I feel like tacos lacks something. I have heard a lot of people starting to debate tacos as a metric. And I'm kind of curious, how much is it because everyone is always looking to be the contrarian who comes with a new idea to the table. So what are your thoughts on what are the main metrics you're looking at to judge success?
I'm thinking about it in two ways. One way is I'm putting on my vendor central 1P hat. And what I look at there is replenishment or purchase orders, right? If I'm investing and I'm seeing that those dollars are generating more orders on a weekly basis, I'm going to continue to invest with a focus on ROAS because I want to make sure that I'm efficient. And then tacos, I still like that metric. I understand that there's a concern that there's something there, there's something missing, there's something lacking, but I still think it's a very relevant metric. At the same time, I think it's important to look at overall share and ranking in the sense that, okay, as I'm making my investment with PPC, am I starting to gain share? Am I starting to rank higher? Am I starting to overtake some of my top competitors within the category? I think that understanding the full category dynamics and where you stand is critical and essential because there's a lot of factors that go into how you're performing, but looking at it relative to the category I think is probably one of the most important things, and that's an extra step, and there's different tools that I use to do that. I license Cobalt, so basically I'll create segments within Cobalt, what my market share is within that segment that I created, and as I'm investing, am I gaining share and who am I overtaking? So I think, yes, looking at tacos is still helpful, but looking at it relative to your overall category performance is good. And then just to build off of that, looking at your advertising data in isolation is super dangerous, because I think,
Mm.
I think everyone is kind of over it. Everyone gets that ROAS can be like a vanity metric, and you can make ROAS look fantastic. You can make it look really bad if you wanted to. But looking
Mhm.
at how you're performing overall in terms of sales and then in terms of how you're doing within the overall category is another good metric to look at, in my opinion.
Yeah, and another way to think of it is that, like, if you're flying a plane, you don't want the pilot to just look at airspeed. You want them to be looking at altitude, the direction you're going, the stuff with the engine. Like, I'm not a pilot, but like I know, like they've got a lot of gauges they're looking at, and that's kind of like what you have as a seller. Is you have all these different gauges. It could be tacos, it could be ACOS, it could be ROAS, it could be all these different things that they all kind of are part of the big picture. That if you don't pay attention to all of them, at some point you will crash. Now you don't have to stare at one the whole time. You don't have to like constantly scan all of them all the time, but like you
Yeah.
should have a general idea of where you're going and how fast you're going and how high up you are.
Yeah. And I love that analogy, Kevin. It's like, okay, what's my destination? Where am I trying to get
Mhm,
to? And if I'm getting
mhm.
there, does it really matter what metric or what gauge I'm looking at? So I think kind of understanding, like I said, the big picture, probably the most important thing to do.
Selling on Amazon doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to make it easy for you. Just scan the QR or click the link chat.